Pacers, man. Listen, this team plays absolutely no defense, and it sometimes hurts my soul to watch them. Tyrese Halliburton, for as good as he is on the offensive end, and this guy has been absurd the entire season. His defense is atrocious. The Bucks and Pacers, we're going to watch two turnstiles at the top of the defense for both teams. We might get a 160 to 155 game with Pacers and Bucks because the defense is that bad. The Pacers, to their credit, never relent on the offensive end. They go hard, they go fast, they run on every single make. Tyrese Halliburton stays in every single play. Stays in every play on the offensive end. But his defense is so bad. Are they going to be able to do, and not just in in-season tournament, because I think the Bucks are a better basketball team, and I expect the Bucks to win. But this is a playoff team. The Pacers are going to, I think they're going to be able to sustain a high enough level of offense that they can make the playoffs. Are they just going to get swept out of the playoffs, though, because their defense is too bad?
I don't know if they'd get swept out because I feel like they could have a game that's, wildly offensive in a way. Like, I don't know if they could win a series, but I don't know if they'd get swept. I could see them winning a game.
They put so much pressure on you with their our friend Matt Moore has started to describe Halliburton as sort of evolutionary Steve Nash. And I think that's because they play fast, but it's not just that they're fast, it's that they're always going. It's not sprint everywhere, but start running. And it's everybody on their team, and it's Buddy Hield is sprinting to his spots in the 3-point line, and they have a plethora of wings and between Matherin and Neesmith and Nembhard, and Neesmith's a player I've always kind of liked, and he's really become a nice kind of a solid physical wing for them, and so they just put so much pressure on you constantly that like if you're not ready to match that on a given night, like fine, they're not going to be able to guard you, but they're running the ball back down your throat every time, and they could wear some teams out that way. Maybe not 4 times in 7, but more than once or more.
Do you guys give them a chance to win this single elimination game against the Bucks? I mean, a single elimination, so anything can happen. But
for sure,
you don't think the Bucks are going to be able to just? And again, the defense is so bad, but they're just this much better.
Why do you think they could crank up the defense? Like that's like you think they can really kind of? I mean, they have Brook Lopez and Giannis, and then after that, like I'm not really looking at their defense going like ooh, And I think that's the thing there. I mean, the Pacers get hot and they get going. This is what the tournament's about, right? Like this is the fun stuff you get with that single elimination stuff. Is this is it? Let's go. And I think Halliburton has a game that they look at their wins. They beat Philly, they beat Boston. Like they have nice wins on their resume. Like when you're just looking at that stuff, it's like, they can beat anybody on any given night. There's no reason why we got to think like the Bucks will be favored as they probably should be.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't look at it going like, oh, the Bucks are going to win this easy. Like this is going to be a track meet, and it's just going to come down to this is going to be a make or miss game.
And I think we have to, first of all, like if it comes down to like sort of in-game strategizing, it's been a rough start to the year for Adrian Griffin, and Rick Carlisle is one of the better coaches in the league, so that's an advantage. I also think that going psychoanalysis a little bit, I think this probably means a little more to Indy than it does to Milwaukee. Like the Pacers know they're not winning the title this year,
right?
But they can win something here,
right?
And I think that it's not saying the Bucks wouldn't like to win, but I think it probably is like in some ways this is the Pacers season.
I'm gonna push a little bit, but you're right. But also, I would say this is also the training ground for the playoffs for them. This is hey. Listen, that game they played against Boston, that was a type of atmosphere you will feel in the first round of a playoff game at home. Granted, this is going to be a neutral site, going to kind of be a little bit of a weird crowd. I don't know how much.
Oh, but it's going to be a very pro Pacers crowd, I think.
because they're going to be excited for it. But like, they're
Well,
fun.
I think the
Kyrie-
Lakers want to play the Pacers rather than the Bucks, and wouldn't you think?
Probably.
Yeah, because they want to. Yeah, for sure. But by the way, with the Lakers defense and inability to shoot, I would be careful what you wish for. But I think the thing for them is this is training ground for the playoffs. Like, hey guys, don't just look at this as, hey, this is our only chance to win something this season. This is our chance to get playoff experience in December that might help us in April. And I think that matters. And I think that's an important thing. That's an important way this team should go about it. Whether they do is a different story, but that's something they should kind of focus on a little bit.
Be interesting because the atmosphere will be that, but the prep won't be.
Right.
Because it's only 2 days. And I don't think there's been binders being made for
I hope
finals.
I hope that
as a video coordinator, I would revolt. I would form a union and we'd fight. Like, let's go.
So is this can I bring up my sort of
I want to talk about the Celtics just a little bit because I look, they're coming into the season, we have I think we've talked a lot about the Celtics. Obviously, they got Drew Holiday, they got Kristaps Porzingis. They're the favorites in the East. They've been the best team in the East, I think. That was a rough game for them, Mo.
I mean, the way I kind of look at it is this is the same offense we've seen from them the past few years, and it
falls apart at the end.
It's really good when they're making their shots, right? But it's one action into an isolation. Like, that's just not, it's, like I've seen them do more in the post. I've seen them try, make more of an emphasis on that stuff. But really at the end of games, we see them over and over again. One action, whoever has the ball in their hands at the end of that action, that's where the ball is going to stay. And that's where we're going to get a shot. And we're going to live and die by that, which, because they have such talented guys, will win them a lot of games. But that's the thing that worries me about them come playoff time. Like, I just want to see something with the variation with their offense, throughout the entire game, and it just not always end up in isolation. And I think that's a problem for them that they need to find a way to get out of.
I owe Brad Stevens an apology, I think, because I used to blame his offense for their late game struggles and the fact that it would just fall apart. I mean, but the truth is, those guys, they get into their bag a little bit, and it's
Dave. Now it's
hard
time
to do that.
Double down. Keep blaming him. That's what you do.
Yeah.
So
unfortunately, I'm not built that way.
The other thing this illustrates is how vital Kristaps Porzingis is for them, because if they're gonna run one action into something, the Tatum Porzingis pick and pop, pick and roll is a pretty good sort of bell to ring over and over again, because that's kind of an unguardable action. So at least that gives them a chance to create advantages in a way that it's not going to be one action, back the ball out, hero ball it up.
And they were missing. I think they missed Kristaps' defense also. He's a fantastic rim protector, and then some of the stuff that they were doing with him defensively, just out on the perimeter, even. I mean, he's like trapping it almost half court sometimes. I think that they missed that, being able to apply that pressure in this game in particular,
and they missed that, and they missed that, and then they also, Horford is obviously a capable deputy in that regard, but then who backs up Horford if Porzingis is out? It's Luke Cornett, and he had some moments in the first half of that game, but like especially against a team that's going to get up.
I don't know how he caught that lob, by the way. That was a lob like you throw for Victor Wembanyama. Cornett.
He had some positive moments in the first half and moments in the second half where I was like,